what's good?
Witnesses! Please state your names and occupations for the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can't go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books and all the renown throughout the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold out the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Oh my goodness! Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me. I needn't. It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Small world. Tread carefully, Susato. An author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course, I know. Presume Soseki wouldn't have forgotten about me. Certainly, never forgot him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, amazing outfit. Hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? More like your head. Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Oh, thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Oh, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I hope that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might be present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san? Oh, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. At a beach. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoma! Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy! As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much! You practically threw that paper at me! Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see Uganda's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Wow. But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Oh dear. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I have work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, May was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but only if I had! I'd never seen that awful sight! I'd never have seen that awful sight. Oh my god. Relentlessly wrecked by remorse and regrets! Okay then. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account on all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly wrecked by remorse and regrets I am. The witness scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, and she stabbed wildly! I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime! What?
Now, if you will recall, I promise evidence as well. What phrase did I say again? Ah, yes, it was damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found her at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with a final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Oh, goodness! Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonine barrel. R.M. Name Membami. The initials of the defendant! No! This fountain pen will be omitted immediately as critical evidence! Damning her. Imagine if this case took place today, that would mean something different now, wouldn't it? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
Oh dear, already. I don't understand. The prosecutor outed you of 9 months ago. None of this man's poise. I beg to differ, but alright. As cocky as ever, I think. Counsel of the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. This is your chance. You Tuttle. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. Oh, that means... Oh, yes, me. Right. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Oh, actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please! Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Finding inconsistencies in the witnesses' testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Oh! The portraits! I think it's very opportune to look through the court record once more with feeling. The post-mortem report. Time of death is just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was... Okay. Well, just from that alone, I'm just going to dive right into something Hosonaga said. It's the last one, isn't it? I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Well, that doesn't match up with this, does it now?
Objection!
Ooh! The real Naruhodo has something to learn from fake Naruhodo here in terms of objection. An accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me. I think I finally understand. Every time Takazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What is the meaning of that menacing pose, counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me.
How?
Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me. In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right, as I said when I entered the hut. The defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be! What? Get to the point, counsel! Ah yes, the book! In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Oh my god, it got cut off. In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san, you claim to have seen Menbami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes, I did! Wildly!
But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True!
What exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. Excellent work, Susato! You exploded at them with that objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right, there were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Slander! Why, it is quite adequately dressed! In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing in multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference, I tell you!
Why not?
Engage your brain, young man! When the accused first plunged their deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow! And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade and ready for a next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance!
Ah! I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade...
Then we are back to where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the Shannon girl is as innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too! The prosecution demands an explanation, and it better be good.
Why did they pull out the knife? Ah yes, going for the jugular. Huh? What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely that she could save her life, perhaps? According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought that she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research student, Menbami-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Guys?
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect from the young yokel.
Indeed. Ah! Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Well, we needed to put a reason forward. Very well, Inspector, I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. At least the trial's still going. Forensic medicine primer. Alright. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. It's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see.
Ha! This is why Yoko should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. I pulled a blade out of a wound, so, Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. They would have been very well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. But then, why would they have done it? Could she have pulled out that knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. They never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have... Susato! Yes! Pull yourself together! We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency! However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving my adjudication immediately afterwards. I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Such is the trade. Alright. Now, I didn't see anything particularly obvious this time, so we are going to have a look at the evidence because we never looked at this properly. Whoops. Time of death is the 11th of August, around 2. I believe today is the 13th, but I guess that doesn't really matter. But anyway, ascertained by examination and witness statements. Okay, cool. Cause of death is a single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Note: extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. She has eyes? Okay, sorry. That's an interesting note. Ah yes, this is our first time looking at... Oh, I guess we can't really look further than this, can we? Ah, is that one of Wonga High's kittens? Oh. Ah, yes. Hello? Oh, not this again. Okay, whatever. I guess we can't examine it, so whatever. So that's all we can see for now. Pulling a blade. I guess we can just press. Hope you don't mind. Pulling a blade would cause heavy bleeding. I'm not contesting that, but what else can we say about that? I want to know. You say doing it without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean that if you used due care and attention, it would be alright? Wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but the blade is like a stopper in the wound, as we've established. Remove it, and a serious hemorrhage would occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it. Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation.
You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Back to the witness testimony, please. Well, what was hoped for? Basic knowledge that any medical research assistant... Okay, so they... We're trying to get into why she would have done that, so let's see. In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... Clearly, the defendant, named Membami-song, does not possess an ounce of sense! Brilliant. What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense. Is she in the room right now? I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer!
I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I just don't understand it.
Not this again! Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a dangerous thing. So can I gamble by the looks of it? Oh dear. That recalled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Membami-san would have certainly been aware of it. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to... Let's explore some possibilities, whatever they may be. I don't know. But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. Maybe she should have called for help, I guess? I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would have behaved so irrationally. Well, irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Oh, whoops. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive. Yes, well, that's only supposition, isn't it? Whatever the motive, it isn't just in Membami-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. But you don't know the defendant!
And you, Counsel, do not appear to know the law!
Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. Could probably sway a jury though, but hey, we don't have one right now, so I'll never mind that.
With this, the fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused.
So do I. Oh dear. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Yes. Miss Brett was in many ways a sworn enemy of Membami-san. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor.
Hold it!
Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membami-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point.
This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere.
They knew that withdrawing the knife blade from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further. I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. The fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course! I've been through the court record dozens of times already! I think perhaps you're forgetting something though. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in great detail too. Ah! I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom. So if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record? Some ideas, certainly. What should I do? I'll ask for a refresher. Yes, Father. Spartan guidance is what I need! I think that might be doing it overdoing it slightly, but... Very well. So, open the court record first of all with RB. Alright. Now, let's take a look at the fountain pen. Alright. Simply press A. That's all there is to it. Alright, perfection. Yes, the initials RM. There they are, clearly engraved on the barrel. You can look at a piece of evidence from all angles. You should have a good look at everything to make sure you haven't missed any clues. Yes, I will! Just need to rotate the pen and watch closely for anything out of the ordinary then. Alrighty then. What's this? Some sort of emblem here, look! But it isn't a Yume University one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to them. Ah! Damning evidence, my butt! Or... Wait, that's all we need to do? Hold on a second. Wait, wasn't... Is there nothing else? If we take off the pen's lid... Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? It's empty. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from the bottom or up through the nib. Is something wrong, Father? Just like there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Nothing to say about the nib, that's cool. Oh, I think that's it. We talked about the initials already, so... Oh, did we? The RM initials are very clearly engraved here. The fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is a very clear message too. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there can be any doubt that this is... Sorry, a key piece of evidence in this case. Oh, it's evidence, alright. To what? To whom? I don't think we're necessarily sure. Ah yes, a new view. Let's have a look at this picture. Raucous England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, isn't it, Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. Oh dear. Anything on the other side? This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive! Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. From Yume Medical Research? Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that! The poison's been stolen! It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as it is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard of any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Renee in charge of the project. Hey, she was managing it? If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it! We need to read this article very carefully. Much to glean. I believe that's it. Yeah, just the two sides. Now, alright, exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsume on 11th of August, it's come to light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory was stolen. Deadly in tiny quantities. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Why is the poison being developed? Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of pupils prior to death. Such symptoms would be suggestive of this toxin. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. The constriction. Wait, hold on, what did they say about even the smallest amount entering the body either... Dang, if that's true, our defendant most, shoot, I don't know the word, but perhaps, the problem is, who do we present it to? Pulling a blade, that's basic knowledge, yep, we're not contesting that. There's no good reason. Maybe our defendant saw the constricted eyes, connected it to the poison, and thought, hey, maybe we might want to get this out before any poison. Maybe. I don't know, maybe a window of time would allow it.
Objection!
No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What?
Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, he's also a poor loser. Ha! Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory of the Imperial Yuma unit.
Objection!
Bro, we're just casually leaking. I mean, I know it's in the publication, like...
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
But... Prosecutor Aochi, you will let the defense speak.
But the newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Yeah, well, someone can corroborate, right? Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentions and affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency!
Yes, of course. Thank you. They would have never done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says, deadly in tiny quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Oh my gosh. Are you suggesting? If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Menbamiso, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body, sir! What?
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense!
Not at all! The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage! The word poison appears nowhere in the document.
Okay, well there's an extra note. That's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Objection!
Oh, please, this is clearly desperation! That weasel's last breaking of wind! Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is all reliable anyway.
In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly! Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did you do it, yokel?
Why did they suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What?
You can't possibly...
From your expression, counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? I believe it's the post-mortem report, sir.
Take that!
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, it's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
The defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes have constricted severely. Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Ochi! Oh, I think you will agree. This is very compelling evidence.
You frustrated yokel professor!
I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Eugene Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details report in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it. And I'm afraid I don't know. Oh shoot, yeah. You don't know! The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly. But I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic! Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in a newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father. Pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
That's totally unfounded! Oh.
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault.
Hey. Membami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
It was me! I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What? So you knew?
I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The
whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin has somehow been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was! The thief? You know me? Yes, of course. The dainty English woman! Miss Giselle Brett. That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. She just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly to me as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison! Oh no. Whatever do you mean? And then she suddenly got to her feet, falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her bag. I couldn't understand what just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes had been shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her. I just left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. And the blade of the knife in her back. And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade. Yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time! Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I've duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency! It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in the courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say. Well, Membami-san, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim and motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you?
Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Aochi.
Perhaps some praise is due, young student.
What?
I'd imagine there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you've brought this upon yourself.
Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on the beach is almost palpable.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Mad Mummy's own plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
That's not true! No! I don't believe it! Ah! Oh! Counsel for the defense! Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced in my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice has yet to break. Those yokels are so mine and slow to mature.
I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Sato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And here we have ample proof. Aha. Bro, someone else was in there, weren't they? What the heck? How is that? The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. The incriminating photograph. Oh dear. I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image, I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute! I don't understand! How did you... who took that photograph? Hey.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
Is that why you hesitated, huh?
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Ah! I will uphold the defense's demand. How do we identify them, though? The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. There was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness! Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence to the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence! You yokel-shitted and blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but
The moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. No. Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that they withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
You have plenty of your defeat on the solo train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Takechi Ouchi in a court of law.
I can't determine who took this photograph. The trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Well, Counsel? Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph. The truth is, I have an inkling. Having the answer might be strong words, but alrighty. This isn't about whether I can or cannot come up with the answer now. I simply have to! The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal.
Possibly. But as you so boldly claim you can, please do enlighten us.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe?
However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. Very well then, Counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer? Looky here. And also, looky here. Same camera, perhaps.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again. Walker's English, England, returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Indeed. They had already caught my eye as it happens.
What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or...
Indoors. I mean, I know there are indoor plants, but like... What are the odds? There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Exactly. Now, if you look closely at this photograph, I think you'll find... Good gracious! Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, for the branches of tree.
A white shadow? There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Counsel.
Yes.
What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of a camera defect. Well, we're about to get penalised, so best not mess around, I suppose. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
But the photographic device.
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. And that the scratched lenses causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera.
There must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the well. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
two of them vouched for it. I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor OG, that one of the photographs featured in the newspaper article. Yes.
Newspaper.
That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. Many Memo! I see why you were called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
It's Many Memo, I tell you! Many Memo! Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say Many Memo? Ever since I've returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoryu News has been hounding me, following me in my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Now that he mentions it, they secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. Is that the one? He's certainly writing memos. Many memos. Could that same reporter be? Seems like we don't need to look so far after all. Our camera to the left on him, my notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Many Memo. So, you're saying that this picture was taken by... Why, Many Memo, yes! My lord, your excellency, Esquire! Officer, find this newspaper report once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Yes, your excellency.
As you say, Your Excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. Why didn't we have that in the court record until now? What the heck? You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task, understood?